Have you ever thought about the world's next great battlefield? Forget deserts or jungles. Look north, way north, to the vast, icy expanse of the Arctic. For centuries, it was an impassable, frozen fortress. But now, the ice is melting, and a new era of competition is dawning. This isn't just about climate change. It's about power, resources, and a new kind of conflict brewing in the cold. Welcome to the silent war in the Arctic, and at its heart is a fleet of steel giants, Russia's icebreakers. As the polar ice caps recede at an alarming rate, something incredible is happening. New shipping lanes are opening up, potentially slashing travel times between Asia and Europe by weeks. Think of the Northern Sea Route, once a mythical passage, now a seasonal reality. This route is Russia's maritime superhighway, and they control the access. But it's what lies beneath the ice that truly ignites this new cold rush. The Arctic is estimated to hold about 13% of the world's undiscovered oil and a staggering 30% of its undiscovered natural gas, not to mention vast deposits of rare earth minerals crucial for our modern technology. Suddenly, this frozen wasteland looks a lot like a treasure chest, and everyone wants the key. And who holds the master key? Right now, it's Russia. While other nations are just waking up to the Arctic's potential, Russia has been playing the long game for decades. Their secret weapon? The world's largest and only nuclear-powered icebreaker fleet. These aren't just any ships, they're behemoths, capable of smashing through ice up to 3 meters thick, operating for months on end without refueling, and paving the way where no one else can go. Think of them as the gatekeepers of the Arctic. Commercial ships wanting to use the Northern Sea Route have to pay for Russian icebreaker escorts. Companies wanting to explore for oil and gas need these ships to clear a path and provide support. Economically, they give Russia a stranglehold on the region's burgeoning commerce. But let's be clear, these ships are not just glorified tugboats for cargo vessels. They are a powerful extension of Russia's military and strategic ambitions. This is where the silent war really begins. The Arctic's unique geography makes it a perfect hiding place for nuclear submarines. It's a vast, deep, and acoustically complex environment. Russian icebreakers can create channels for their own submarines to slip out into the Atlantic undetected, or to patrol beneath the ice, holding strategic targets at risk. They can also deploy sophisticated sensor networks on the seabed, creating an underwater surveillance system to monitor the movements of other nations' vessels. It's like setting up a hidden tripwire across the entire Arctic floor. And the military role doesn't stop there. Russia is actively militarizing its Arctic coastline, reopening Cold War era bases and building new ones. Guess how they supply these remote outposts all year round? That's right, the icebreaker fleet. They deliver troops, equipment, and supplies, ensuring these bases are operational no matter the weather. There's even talk of arming the icebreakers themselves. The newest generation, the Arctic Cocklows, are designed with the potential for dual use. This means they could be quickly fitted with containerized missile systems, turning a civilian support vessel into a roving warship in the blink of an eye. Imagine a fleet of mobile missile platforms, camouflaged as simple icebreakers, patrolling a critical global waterway. It's a game changer. So, how is the rest of the world responding to Russia's icy grip? Well, they're playing catch-up, and they're worried. The United States, a major Arctic nation itself, currently operates only 2 heavy icebreakers, one of which is decades old and often in for repairs. The contrast is stark. While Russia launches new nuclear giants, the U.S. is struggling to keep its aging fleet afloat. Congress has approved funding for new icebreakers, but they are years away from being ready. This icebreaker gap leaves the U.S. at a significant disadvantage, limiting its ability to project presence, support scientific research, and respond to emergencies in its own Arctic territory. Other major players are also making their moves. China, styling itself as a near-Arctic state, is keenly interested. They understand the economic importance of the new sea routes for their global trade. They've already built their own icebreakers, the Zulong or Snow Dragon series, and are actively conducting scientific expeditions and seeking a role in Arctic governance. China's involvement adds another complex layer to the strategic puzzle, creating a triangular competition between Russia, the US, and China. NATO is also on high alert. many of its members Canada, Denmark via Greenland, Norway, Iceland are Arctic nations. They see Russia's military buildup as a direct threat to the North Atlantic, a region critical for reinforcement routes between North America and Europe. In response, NATO is increasing its military exercises in the region, practicing cold weather operations, and tracking Russian submarine activity more closely. We re-seeing a classic security dilemma unfold. One nation's defensive move is seen as an offensive threat by another, leading to a cycle of escalation. An arms race, or in this case, an icebreaker race, is well underway. The stakes couldn't be higher. What does the future hold for the Arctic? In a worst-case scenario, we could see a scramble for the Arctic. Disputes over maritime boundaries, resource claims, and control of shipping lanes could escalate from diplomatic spats to naval standoffs or even limited clashes. A miscalculation or an accident in these crowded, harsh waters could have devastating consequences. And let's not forget the environmental impact. Increased shipping, oil and gas drilling, and military activity all pose a massive threat to the Arctic's fragile ecosystem. An oil spill under the ice would be nearly impossible to clean up. The noise pollution from ships disrupts marine life that has known only silence for millennia. However, there is another path. The Arctic has a history of international cooperation, particularly in scientific research and environmental protection through bodies like the Arctic Council. Diplomacy could prevail. Nations could agree on a set of rules for navigation, resource exploitation, and military conduct, turning the region into a zone of peace and collaboration rather than conflict. This would require intense dialogue, trust building, and a shared commitment to preserving this unique part of our planet. The silent war in the Arctic is a story of our time, complex interplay of climate change, economic ambition, and old-fashioned geopolitics. Russia's icebreaker fleet is at the very center of this story, a symbol of both opportunity and threat. As the ice continues to melt, the world will be watching to see if this new ocean becomes a bridge between nations or a new front line in a global power struggle. The fate of the Arctic may very well shape the future of the 21st century. What do you think? Will the Arctic become a zone of conflict or cooperation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this journey to the top of the world insightful, please give this video a like. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the forces shaping our world. Thanks for watching.